felt that energy in high school, whether you were the popular kid who was ripping on somebody else, or you were the nerd or the quote unquote weird kid that was getting ripped upon. I know that you sense that energy. Think back to your high school days, or if you're in high school now, think about what school was like today. You know, it is not the best energy. You know, it definitely is an energy of separation. It's literally like having a dozen different religions come together in one place and then like expected to get along. You know, but they all stick in their little cliques. You know, you got the Christians over here and you got the Mormons over here and you got the Buddhists over here. You know, so it's even though I would consider Buddhism more a philosophy than a religion, because it's less about controlling people and more about expanding people's minds. I am pro-Buddhist, pro-Taoist, pro-pagan, pro-Wiccan. You know, I saw that separation. And then now what's happening is that you have a community of people who realize the truth and what's happening around the world and what has been happening. And then you have the other group who is stuck in the system. So for me, it was yet again moving from one world to the other world. And I have a friend like Bibi, for example, who is, I hope she doesn't mind me saying her name on the show. Just an immense person. You know, I sit with her and we talk about spirituality. We talk about ETs. We talk about the sky. We talk about the possibilities, you know, and then I hang out with someone else. And there's a handful of people, and I'm not going to name names, who are very into society and not community. And it's really, really hard for me. And I'm trying to find a way to bridge that gap, because at the bottom line is we are all beautiful, amazing, loving people. Even the Illuminati, even members of the Rockefeller family go home and kiss their dogs and you know, kiss their dogs and their cats and snuggle up with their children and read bedtime stories to their children and make love to their wives and their husbands. You know, there is love there because that's who we are. That is who we are, you know, and even in a not a lesser capacity, but down a smaller scale, doctors, which I do have a problem with, and teachers who just follow the same old paradigm and just say, memorize this fact, memorize this date, memorize this name, instead of saying, what do you think? I have an issue with that. I definitely have an issue with that. And I think I always will. But although I'd prefer not to pigeonhole myself into that, you know, reality, it's possible I might not at some point, and it would be good if I wasn't. But I am not for that. But these same people, I do realize, one, are indoctrinated into the same system that they try very hard every single day to indoctrinate us into. And two, these same people go home, spend time with their grandchildren, kiss their husbands and their wives, you know, play with their dogs and their cats and you know, go on family trips and, you know, love each other. And I think I'm getting emotional while I'm saying this. I'm having the God moment while I'm saying this. I think we lose sight of that when you realize that, especially in my own personal experience, when you realize that you are living in two different worlds, when you're hanging with two different people, you sometimes forget that the person that you're anti, or the group that you're anti with, that they still have love in their lives. And that's so important. Oh, wow. That is absolutely important, because we are these incredible beings. We are spirit beings having a human experience. It is incredible what we can achieve, especially when we get out of society, when we get out of societal propriety, and we come together in communication and unity, community. And as this is about acceptance, it is very hard for me to keep perspective. It has been very hard for me to keep perspective. And in accepting those who are very deeply indoctrinated into the community, as I get more and more into acceptance and being more respectful of people's beliefs and where they're coming from, I am seeing that I obviously have put up the walls that has separated me between myself and that person who follows society. But they are an incredible person, and I'm trying, it really, like I said, it really is a practice. It's an exercise, and it's an everyday exercise. And I have my moments where I'm like, those effing blah, blah, blah. All they do is, about like the Illuminati or the governments or whatever. All they do is hurt people, but those moments are happening less and less and less. And it's not that I'm becoming placated. It's not that I am favoring peace over, truth. It's nothing like that. It's just that I realize that we are all so beautiful and so special, and we lose sight of that. We forget that the person who has been indoctrinated has been indoctrinated. I mentioned my partner's family before. The maternal side of his family is Jehovah's Witness, and I actually, let me tell you this amazing experience. His mother is it's it's really amazing, because for the first couple of, I want to say 2 years of our relationship, I had certain things to say about his mother. Well, maybe for the first year. Obviously she has repressed her children because she has put them within a religion, and they were mind controlled for so long that they eventually had to break out of it and get into drugs and alcohol and this, that, and the other thing. Because when you are put into a box, when you finally break free of that box and you see a whole amazing world before you, you're going to be trying everything. You are going to be rebelling. You are going to be completely opposite what they want you to be. If they told you never do drugs, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go out and do drugs as soon as you're out of that box that they've confined you within. And this is what ended up happening. And eventually, especially he and his sister, my partner and his sister, and his sister, left the church. And there's a lot of separation that happens there, because if someone leaves or is excommunicated, the elders tell the churchgoers, you're not meant to be talking with that person. So the communication between my partner and his sister and the rest of the family, who is very much still deeply indoctrinated into the church or accepted into the church, it was unbelievable, because people would come for visits and he would just go elsewhere. And family, it's family, for God's sake. I realized that I don't believe in that saying blood is thicker than water, even though obviously yes it is, but I don't believe in the idea behind it. Because sometimes there's just someone in your family that you just don't like. I have extended family members that I do not get on with, and I am okay being separate from. I wish them nothing but the best, but really, and I want nothing but the best for them, for their partners, for their children, for their grandchildren, for whatever happens in their life. And I do hope for mega awakenings for these people, because yet again, pretty much all of my extended family is very much into society, is very much indoctrinated into the system. Although there are a couple who have these moments of breaking out of the box, and it's absolutely amazing to see that. And those are the ones I'm closest with, because again, I can relate. I can relate to the mega awakening. I can relate to the tiny awakenings, and I can definitely relate to the consciousness expanding. And yeah. So I'm trying I know I'm trying very hard. I'm being very politically correct here, but even when I should just say the truth, but I am saying the truth, some of my extended family are dicks. That's what I think. But anyway, so I have, I'm not so spiritually evolved that I don't have my moments where I'm like, that person's a dick, but so that's really what it comes down to, is losing the perspective, and that makes it hard to be accepting. Where I've had these relationships with particular people, and I see how they have bought into the society and into the sick system, and how they are completely a part of it, and I want no part of it. But I do have to remember the greatness that's within these people. And I know it sounds like I'm struggling with it. I am. I'm still struggling with this because it is very, very hard. When you have found it hard, and I'm sure some of you can relate, when you have found it hard to be able to relate to certain people, based on their beliefs, based on what they've been indoctrinated into, based on what they do even, it's really hard. Ultimately, we put up the walls ourselves to keep us separate from those people. And what I am hoping to achieve in my life, whether it takes the next 7 minutes or the next 70 years of my life, I would like to bridge that gap with everybody. That doesn't mean that the friend who said I need to get a bank account, which I completely disagree with, that doesn't mean that I need to go hang out with her every single day and plan family vacations with my family and her family. That doesn't mean that. That just means that I give her nothing but the best in energy, that I don't speak ill of her, that every time I do see her, I am open-minded, that I am loving, that I am accepting. So I was talking about this with my partner, Eric, last night, about how this is a great topic, acceptance, for the show tomorrow, today. And explaining how what we have here, yes, is obviously a fundamental difference between me and, say, for example, that person that said I should get a bank account. But yes, it's a fundamental difference. But at the end of the day, she believes in banks. I don't. And it's not like she murders people. It's not like she hurts children in any way, shape, or form. She's really great to her children. It's nothing like that. So why, I guess what I was questioning him is, why is it so difficult for me to relate, and ultimately what you realize is that you can have a connection with absolutely anybody. The connections are always going to be different. I mean, we know that anyway. The connections are always going to be different. Like with this friend, we can sit and we can talk just about the physical aspect of life. I can't bring my ET experiences into it, which saddens me. I can't bring my past life experiences into it, which saddens me, because I've said that before, and the reaction was not positive. And with some people you can't. I can't bring in the conspiracy stuff, which conspiracy, again, has a negative connotation, but it's literally just men behind closed doors making plans for other men. And by the word men, I mean humankind, it's, but on some level, there is a connection. And there was a much greater connection when we were best friends, and we were best friends for a long time. And we did a lot of drinking together in our early 20s, and went to a lot of bars together and a lot of clubs, and did a lot of May 2-4 weekends up in like Grand Bend. And yeah, anybody who's listening who did that too, I bet you're going, all right, Grand Bend. We did connect on a certain level. There was often a bit of a wall up between the two of us, but we did quite connect on many levels. It's just not the level that I find in my life the most meaningful. And I think you can tell what I find the most meaningful based upon what it is I talk about in the show. And but what I was saying about acceptance, and I should wrap this up because I am talking in circles now. We can find something that connects us to absolutely anybody. And this is something that I love so, so much about my partner. And I'm crazy in love with him anyway. He's the most amazing person. We actually grew up together. So I've known him for 25 years. And he was the only person I played house with in kindergarten. And we used to sneak little kisses on the bus and everything because we lived right around the corner from each other. And we used to, I used to be so excited to go to the bus stop and see him every morning. He's just an all-around amazing person. And something I love so much about him is that he can start a conversation with anybody, basically about anything. He seems to get along with absolutely everybody. He doesn't seem to have those walls. He is very accepting of people. Maybe to the point where I would say a little too accepting. But